All right, good to see everyone. We're doing a little live video today. This is Tom Owen from Apex Orthopedic Rehab. We're going to talk a little bit about It's Just Muscular. A lot of patients come to me with upper back and shoulder pain in between this area, and they'll say it's the rhomboids, it's a particular muscle in this region, it's the rotator cuff, and sometimes it can be. But there's other times when we kind of go by the site of the problem. We go, oh, it's in the bicep, or it's in the tricep, or it's in the bicep, and that's the area that we think is the problem. But sometimes the pain is actually coming from a different spot. And it confuses patients, it confuses therapists sometimes, unfortunately. Hopefully it doesn't confuse us too much, but it does create a little bit of problems. So one of the studies I like to talk about is the Cloward, they call Cloward's areas. You don't have to remember this, but it's called Cloward's areas. And this guy, Cloward, back in the 50s, basically he stimulated the discs in between. The discs are just right in the front here. It's kind of hard to see. I'll show you the discs here. These little discs in between the vertebrae right here. Okay, he did it up in the neck here. And what happened was he actually stimulated the disc with a needle. I don't know who signed up for this experiment. I sure wouldn't. But he poked it with a needle actually. And what happened was they started getting pain. So if I went ahead and I stimulated, let's say 1, 2, 3, the third level right here, the disc between the third and the fourth, they started getting pain down in this part of the shoulder blade here. They actually got pain lower here. When they stimulated the C4, C5 disc, which is a disc between the fourth and the fifth vertebrae, right in here. Hard to see the cervical vertebrae, they're a little small in the skeleton. They started getting pain right here at the base of the spine, or whatever side they're looking at. They started getting a dull, achy pain in this region. Same thing, went down the row. They went ahead and C5, C6, C6, C7, and they just named the vertebrae. This is cervical vertebrae, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we talk about a disc, it's the vertebrae above and below make up that disc. So they basically, like I said, they irritated that disc and they got pain at different levels. They actually got pain in, they call it the scapular region, in between the shoulder blades. And they kind of said, wow, there's kind of a connection there. And what they did next was, they said, wow, we have pain. We irritated the subject. Hopefully we paid him enough to do it. And we went ahead and we shot Novocaine into the same site, and the pain went away. So they felt, wow, there's an interesting connection here, that maybe the pain, even though we're having, we have something that's going on in the neck, it's actually giving us pain further down, in different areas. So they call it the Cloward's areas, and they just kind of looked at this thing. They said, wow, there's a connection there below. Now, we've talked about lower back problems. Lower back's very similar. The shoulder blades are kind of like the buttock of the lumbar spine. And oftentimes people that have lower back problems, especially disc problems, L4, L5, L5S1, they'll talk about buttock pain and leg down the back of the leg. Similar. And they'll want me to, or they'll ask a therapist, or they'll massage, they'll stretch their hamstrings, they'll try and do some piriformis or buttock massage, they'll try and do something to stretch this area. And sometimes they don't even have back pain, but they have buttock and leg pain. So it can be confusing, and I'm not trying to discourage you, but if you're having persistent problems, it might be coming from a different location. It's kind of like a heart attack where people say, I started noticing very significant jaw pain or arm pain. We started treating the arm, we probably wouldn't have a lot of success with that heart attack or that jaw pain when we go to the dentist. And it's funny, there are people that show up at the dentist that have jaw pain. They're actually developing or having signs of a heart attack. So this is kind of the same thing. When I hear it's just muscular and people say, oh, it's just muscular, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it is. But realize sometimes the site of where you're experiencing a problem isn't always the pain generator or the origin of the problem. So if you're not having success doing that, it might be coming from a different structure. So keep in mind the Clowards, they did this study many, many years ago. I've seen this in the clinic. Sometimes people just have scapular pain and they don't have any neck pain whatsoever. As they improve, they actually start developing neck pain, and then this pain starts going away. So that's a good sign. But sometimes you do have pain that's coming from a neck and a lower back they don't have back pain or neck pain. It's actually, they feel it in other places away from them, and they'll argue with you. I've had a gentleman that had pain in the lumbar spine. It's coming from his back, didn't have any back pain, but had focal pain in the back of his hamstrings, back of his leg. He was trying to stretch it out. in defense of the doctor said, this doesn't sound like a hamstring issue, but you don't have any back pain. And he was actually having, lumbar pain. When we moved his back, this area started to improve in the hamstrings. But he thought, the patient said, I feel like I got this hamstring problem. So anyway, just want to give you food for thought. If you're having some troubles in some areas, you're stretching things out, maybe it's not coming from that site. And it's not always anatomically, if you've got a problem, that may not be the area that's providing the pain. It might be pain coming from another area that's giving you pain in this area. And actually the pain's originating up higher up, towards your neck or your lower back. But these studies were very interesting, as far as how they irritated the disc with a little needle and how they gave Novocaine, numbed it back up, and all of a sudden the pain in this area disappeared according to doing some things at the neck. So anyways, I hope it helps you out, a little information there. Hopefully you don't have any of this and you're just getting some information that you can pass on to a friend or something like that. So anyway, have a great day. I hope to help you out a little bit. Be well.